Hey everyone, this is PrinceWatercress, and welcome to a brand new Let's Play. This time around, it will be a Commodore 64 game, something that I have never done on the channel before. Since the Commodore 64 is one of those venerable 8-bit micros, much like the ZX Spectrum and the BBC Micro, it has a lot of games for it. And I could play virtually anything on this thing. Let's see what I have going on here. Well, this looks good. Let's try that. Let us try that. And our game is now loading. Awesome. Yes, we're going to have to deal with load times, regardless of what the medium is that we play the game on. And this is from Sprout, from Mindscape. Mindscape was responsible for a lot of educational games. And this game is definitely of the educational variety. And after seeing that nifty logo screen, we have to wait a little bit more. We know that we are close to the end of the loading when we see a gray background all over the screen there, surrounding the Sprout logo. I'm going to go ahead and get a drink as we wait. Let's move that. There we go. I wanted to make sure that the thing that I'm drinking out of isn't too close to the edge of the desk there. There's the gray background that I was talking about. And the title screen should pop up for this game at any minute now. Just waiting. Took Goes to Town by Mercer Meyer. If the name Mercer Meyer sounds familiar to you, that's because Mercer Meyer was responsible for the Little Critter books. But back in the 80s, he created another series called Tink Tonk. And it had a bunch of books and it had a bunch of games. Let's go ahead and press the space bar and get ourselves some nice little copyright information. Apparently, Sprout was the publisher and Angelsoft was the developer. Pleasant music we've got going on here. And after pressing the space bar button again, we find out that Took wants to do something. Shall he go to town or play a game? Well, obviously the name of the game is not Took Plays a Game, so we're going to town. We press 1. And now we wait. And here we are. This is Took. He lives in Tink Tonk land. Took wants to go to town. Help him choose how to travel. Press spacebar to see 8 choices. And it may look like Took is turning his back on you and then facing you again a few times. No, that's just him blinking his eyes. It took me a little while to figure out that was exactly what he was doing. So let's go ahead and see the choices as to how to get to town. How? This screen looks like an internet meme. Really does. So we can press a number to choose something, or we can press spacebar for more. We can use a car, use a truck, take the bus, ride the train, ride on a motorcycle, take a tugboat, use a speedboat, or just sit in a raft. I'm going to be funny and pick 8, the raft. And once you pick your vehicle, it is indeed locked in. You don't get a second chance to change your mind. Now, you may think you may get a funny scene where you see the raft on the road, and the game says, nope, you won't be able to use a raft on the road. Use something else. But, being that this is a kid's game, and anything can happen in a kid's game, the road is now water, and there is a raft, and we can ride the raft on the water to go to where we need to go. I'm guessing that the road, the train tracks, and the stream that we are currently traveling on are all conveniently next to each other. Anyway, on the way to town, Took can pass 2 out of 4 places. Press spacebar to see 4 choices. Let's do that. What places? Well, we're going to see what places we can go to in a few seconds, as soon as the game is finished loading. We can go to the farm, the fair, the forest, or the seashore. I'm going to go to the farm and the forest. And just like with the vehicle, once you select your destinations before going to the town, they're locked in. You can't change your mind. So now we've got some more loading to do. So let's... Took passes the farm. Not long now before we go to the farm. That was some pleasant music there. So you can stop the vehicle with S, you can go with G, and you can play a game with P. And as you go to the 2 locales that you go to before you go to town, you'll notice that everything is set up rather randomly. The barn and the silo are placed randomly, the houses in the background are placed randomly, the clouds are placed randomly, and sometimes you'll see the sun and sometimes you won't. We could continue to the forest, but I want to play a game. So let's press P and play a game. Before I get my L's and my R's mixed up, because I'm saying things faster than I can think them up. Game. So, we can do animal names, or we can do farm words. I'm going to play animal names. Pen the animals. Unscramble their names. Spacebar. And obviously that spells cow. Each animal has its own letter, and you have to spell these words from left to right. And when you select the correct letter, it goes to the top. If you pick the wrong letter, nothing happens. So you can just guess your way into figuring these words out until you figure them out. And you have to do this 5 times. Also, I like that the animals here are a clue as to what you're spelling out. Like, the pigs are a clue that you have to spell pig. The cows are a hint that you have to spell cow. We have goats. Obviously, you have to spell goat. So you just press the key on the keyboard to type in the words, and there you go. we have ducks. Obviously, the word to spell here is duck. And bulls. B-U-L-L. There we go. After 5 words, you can either play again or you can go on. We're going to go on. And that means we're going to sit here and wait for the game to load again. Took passes a forest. So we are now going to be in the forest once this is finished loading. And let's stop here. We have randomly placed trees and clouds, and we also have random animals. Sometimes you'll see foxes and squirrels and raccoons. Sometimes you won't. Maybe you'll only get one animal. But you'll see something at least. Let's go ahead and play a game in the forest too. So it's game time again. We're going to wait for the game to load. And once again, we are going to have a choice between 2 variations of the game. We're going to have 2 ways to play this. We're going to have 2 kinds of game. And we have hidden shapes and hidden letters. I am going to try hidden letters. So here's how the forest game works. We have 15 guesses, and we have to spell the word at the bottom of the screen from left to right. By pressing numbers on the keyboard, we can see what is behind them. If you see a question mark, there is nothing. Otherwise, you'll find a letter. Hidden shapes works the same way. You have to find all the shapes from left to right, just like how you spelled the word. The only thing is, you're not spelling a word, you're finding shapes in a very specific order. So let's go ahead and press the numbers one by one and see what we get. Well, 1 gives us the N, but we're looking for the F. 2 gives us nothing. 3 gives us nothing. 4 gives us nothing. 5 gives us nothing. 6 gives us nothing. 7 gave us the F. 8 gives us the W, so 9 gives us the A, 8 gives us a W, and 2 gives us the N. Wait, what? Oh, 1 gave us the N. Almost missed that one. Had we run out of guesses, the number of guesses that you have on the lower right-hand corner of the screen, the game spells the word out for you. And I'm pretty sure you find out where everything was. But we managed to do it in time, so let's press the space bar and try to do this 4 more times. We have the word path. 1 gives us nothing. 2 gives us nothing. 3 gives us the A, but we need the P first. Well, we know where the T is. That's behind number 4. 5 gives us the P, though. So 3, 4. 6 gave us nothing. And 7 gives us the H. So we were able to spell the word path. Next word is skunk. In case a letter appears more than once in a word, you will have to go back to where you found the letter the first time to use it again. 1 gives us the U, 2 gives us nothing, 3 gave us nothing, 4 gave us nothing, 5 is nothing, 6 gives us the K, S is underneath 7, so we know where K is. 8 is nothing, 9 is nothing. So 1 it is, then 9, and then 6. Because we had to use K twice. We have spelled the word skunk. And now we have to spell the word stream. And this time we have 22 guesses because the word is a little longer. So, T is behind 1. 2 is where A is going to be. 3 gives us nothing. 4 gives us nothing. There's S. It's behind number 5. 1 will give us a T. 6 gave us the R. 7 will give us the N. And I'm assuming 9 will give us the E because A gave us nothing. Where's A? 2. Okay, 2 was where A was. Now we just need to look for the letter M, and it was behind 7. I forgot where everything was already, but we were able to spell it out in time with the amount of guesses that we had. And now we're back to 15 guesses with the word bush. 1 is nothing. 2 is nothing. H is behind number 3. There's S at number 4. 5 is nothing. 6 is nothing. 8 is nothing. I accidentally pressed that. B gives us 7, which means 9 is going to be U. Well, 4, and then 3. Very good. We've done this 5 times. We could play this again if we want, but we might as well move on and go to town. So this is a very pleasant game so far. This could be your kid's very first Commodore 64 game. Much like it could have been a kid's very first computer game or a video game way back when. It's been a long time since this game was released. It's only slightly older than I am. Just waiting for the game to take us to town. And we are now in the town. Took parks the RAFT. And we need to cross the street safely. Press spacebar to help Took cross the street. Obviously, we need to wait for the car to move past safely, and then we'll press spacebar. The crossing light turns green, and we are able to go to the toy store. Do you want Took to go into the toy store? Y for yes, and for no. We're obviously going to press Y for yes, because we do want to go into the toy store. And every time we do something, we have to wait for the game to load. But it's always worth it in the end. There's always something to do somewhere in this game. Toy store is definitely no exception to that rule. As I was saying, this is a pleasant little game, worth checking out. And here's Took walking from left to right, as we see bears, trucks, balls, and ships on the shelves here. After that, we can play a game or go on. We're going to go ahead and play a game. Now we have a choice between different and not like the others. We're going to choose different. Which one is different? All of these things are the same except for one. You find the one that is different from all the rest, and you press the letter that is underneath it. So the gift box with the letter C under it is the one we pick, so we press C. Blue box with the brown stripes. I almost said gray there for a second. That is R. Let's press the letter R. This time it is the letter T. And this time it is Y. Here it's I, E, C, and L. And by selecting the correct letter, we spell a word. It's like hangman, except you don't lose. And we spell that tricycle, and we get a picture of the tricycle on the left there. And by pressing spacebar, we get a whole new puzzle to do. So E, S, S, T, K, and A. Skates. And we have a pair of ice skates to the left. Which one is different? It's A. There's S, L, T, B, I, A, and O. Sailboat. We have a sailboat. And K, E, C, O, T, and R. We have a rocket. We got a rocket. And I believe we have one more here. R, T, O, O, and B. Robot. We have a little toy robot. And we have done our 5 words. We could play again, or we could go on. Let's go on. Let's see what else we can do in town. Because there's got to be more to the town than just a toy store. There's more to buy in the town than just toys. Once again, we are waiting for the game to load. Waiting on the game. Alright, we are going to the left now, and we are going towards the clothes store. Do you want Took to go into the clothes store? Why, for yes. Let's do that. And we are now going into the clothes store. Once again, waiting for the game to load. There's the clothes store. We have shoes, we have pants, we have shirts, and we have hats. Took walks from left to right again, looking at the wares. And as always, we can play a game, and it's a fun one. You get to have a fun time here, because you can dress Took. You can pick a shirt. Let's go ahead and I'll pick 3 here. And once you pick something, you've picked it. You can't change your mind. Spacebar. I'll go for 2. Why not? For shoes, I'll pick the blue sneakers. So 2 it is. And I'll go ahead and pick the blue top hat. And once you've picked one of each, shirt, pants, shoes, and hat, you're done. You can play this again and keep on dressing Took up, or you can go on. Let's go ahead and go on. Sadly, the game does not remember how you dress Took up, and he goes back to his usual clothes when you see him go back into town. I wish the game saved that. I mean, I'm pretty sure Took wanted those clothes. You did. But sadly, he looks just like he did before he entered the clothes store. Oh well. So here we are back outside in town. We're going past the toy store. And we are going to market. Do you want Took to go into the market? Why, for yes. Market. Once again, we go into another place in the town. There are all these bottles and jars and boxes. Took moves from left to right again. And as always, we can play a game or move on. Let's play a game. And it takes a little longer for this to load, but it does load, and it is worth it. Had to get a drink there. And market game. Match shapes or find the word. I'm going to play find the word. Find the word is a little harder. And here's how it works. You have the shapes on the left half of the scale, and you have the shapes at the bottom, and the shapes on the scale look kind of like the ones on the bottom, except they're not as complete. And you have to figure out which shape most closely matches the one on the bottom. So, looking at everything, the first word is, or the first letter actually, is going to be N. Unlike other games where you have to spell the word from left to right perfectly, if a letter is there, you can pick it, and it'll be on the other side of the scale. If you pick a letter that is not anywhere on the left, the scale, or the right half of the scale, will go all the way down, and you'll need to try again. If you get too many wrong guesses, the game spells the word for you. So, kind of hard to tell what that second letter is, because we have 3 or 4 spaces that look like that. But thankfully, we can spell the word, we can figure out what it is any way we can. This is even more like Hangman than the game in the toy store was. And we know that the third shape looks like the one for T, and that the fourth shape looks like the one for S. And by thinking about it, the second letter is U. Once we have this word spelled out, the scales are balanced, and we can go on to the next word. This game takes a little bit of thinking to learn how to do, but once you know how to do it, it's a fun game. So, that's obviously S for the first letter, and the second one is going to be A, because the bottom of the second shape on the left side of the scale looks like the one for A at the bottom. The next letter is going to be L, and it looks like the last letter will be T. We first spelled nuts, then we spelled salt. 3 more words to go. And it looks like we know what 2 of the words and the shapes that we're going to use already. It's going to be P, E, oh, I pressed R. Well, it was in the word anyway, but apparently that's in the word. So we know what this is now. It's pepper. That wasn't a mistake, that was a happy little accident. And this word begins and ends with the letter S. So we can press S twice and have that squared away. Second letter will be P. And we know that E is going to be in there. And it looks like C is going to be in there as well, which means that by process of elimination, the third letter is I. We spelled spices. I believe this is the last word. Well, we know E is in there twice, because the second and fourth letters, or the second and fourth shapes, look like the one for E. And the fifth shape will be A. And the last letter will be L. Let's guess the rest of this. Is the first letter C? It is. Which means the third letter will be R. We got cereal. And now that we've played this game 5 times, we can either play again or we can go on. We're going to go on. Town. That's where we are. All that's left to do now is to wait for the game to load, and we'll be in town. Waiting on the game. We are now leaving the markets. And do you want Took to go home? Y or N? Y for yes. Let's go home. And thankfully, we did not have to look both ways. There were no cars coming. And we take the RAFT back home. Going home. And as we go home, we go back to the 2 places that we were at before we went to town. We will go to the forest first, and then we will go to the farm. And then we will be back home. And there are the forest creatures again. There are the trees and the clouds. Sadly, we did not see the sun. And while we could stop or go, I'm just going to let this part run. So we've made it past the forest. And now we are approaching the farm. Everything looks a little different, but we are still at the farm. And now we have made it home. After a day in town. All that's left is to wait for the game to load one more time. I had fun going to town with you. Hope to see you soon. Goodbye for now. Press F1 to go again. But that's enough for one day. That was a fun, pleasant game for the Commodore 64. Toot Goes to Town from Mercer Mayer, who would later create the Little Critter series. Fun little game. The graphics are what they are. You can tell what everything is. And again, it looks like Took is turning his back on you temporarily while he is blinking his eyes, but he is blinking his eyes. Took me a little while to figure that out, but other than that, the graphics are alright. There's not much in the way of sound, but there is some music, and what little there is pleasant enough. Befitting of anything in children's media, especially for the era. I had no problem with the play control. Nothing gave me errors. There was no game-breaking bugs or anything. Everything was easy to do. And once you figure out how to do things, in case you are a 5-year-old, well, not exactly a 5-year-old kid, but maybe like a 2 or 3-year-old kid, game is fun to pick up and play over and over again. At least for a little while. Trip to the town are short, but there are plenty of variations on how to play the game. There are plenty of ways to get to town. You have 8 different vehicles. You have 4 different locations to pass by on the way to town. And there's things to do in the town as well. And unless you're a little kid, you're not going to be playing this more than once. But even then, is still a fun, short time waster all the same. And that was Took Goes to Town for the Commodore 64. Fun, pleasant little children's game for the Commodore 64. Definitely worth getting. I mean, it's short, it's sweet, it's simple. It doesn't wear out its welcome. It's a nice, pleasant thing to pop into the Commodore 64. And that has been it for Let's Play Took Goes to Town. Hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. Hopefully I will be back with another game. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be bad. Maybe it'll be somewhere in between. Who knows? Until then, this is PrinceWatercress. Take care. Stay safe. Thanks for watching, and see you guys later.